For our third activity, we're going to explore the space outside of our body. We spent the last two activities exploring the range of movement within our body, from a shortening place to an expanding space, a contracting and expansion. So now we're going to talk about how to include the space around us, outside our body. Because when we're in activities such as playing an instrument, we're moving in space constantly and interacting with the space around us. So I'm going to, just as a reminder, that see how we have this mobility in ourselves, a shortening and lengthening, and it can go sideways as well. And when you combine the two, I'm going to show you something really interesting. When you lengthen in all, not just two directions, because we talked about the first activity was very just two directions, correct? But there's also a lengthening sideways and in all directions that's happening. So actually, this is how we move. So there's that expansion, contraction, and expansion and contraction. So this is a very three-dimensional way of being, and this is actually how our body moves. So before we start talking about the space, incorporating the space around us, I'm going to remind myself and also everybody again about the three-dimensionality of our body. So it's good reminder, and this is very good to do it on yourself, on your own too, is to remind you that we have a front and back. And here I am, I'm putting one palm just on my chest right here, and I'm gonna turn sideways, and then one palm you can do, depending on your flexibility, on the lower back. And just take a moment and really sense in between your hands, reminding yourself that you have a front and back. You can do it on the side as well, so you can put it on your side, the sides of you. Noticing breathing. And again, we talk about top of our head, and also right now, because I'm sitting in the chair, I can sense my sits bone, the contact of my sits bone with the chair. That's my length right there. So again, sense our depth, our sides. You can even do that with your head and just sense that it's not a flat surface, that it has a front and a back and sides. And these are very simple reminder that you can give yourself. And you can put your hand anywhere you like. See, I can remind myself how wide my shoulder is, that I have a side. And I'm going to show you something really interesting that I noticed is our hand. Because these, we use them a lot to play our instrument. And just by gently rubbing the palm of your hand, remind yourself that this is the palms of my hand, and you can sort of gently brush up and down the back of your hand. And then really sense that these are the two big surfaces of your hands. Next thing you can do go in and out of your finger like this. See, your hands have sides too, right? Let's do it again. So palms of your hand, the back and the side. And you can do it all the way through because we are not flat surface. There's no flat surface in our body. We are three-dimensional being. So just notice the one hand that we did, the simple reminder of going in and out of our palm and in between our fingers. Sense if there's any difference between that hand and this hand right here. This feels a little puffier than that one, so let's do this side again. And feel free to pause the video at any time you want, if you need more time. Okay, and then you can also do this on your leg too, the front, back, and sides of your leg. Just a simple reminder. And this is actually my favorite place to be. Just sensing the width, the depth, the length of my ribs and my lungs. And when I breathe, it expands in all directions. Okay. So again, this is our three-dimensional model. That this is the way we expand and contract constantly as human being. This is our dynamic range of motion right here. So we're gonna stand up again and we're gonna explore the three-dimensional space around us because this is what allow us to be in activity. Okay, so here we are standing and I want you to sense again our three-dimensionality of our body. So we, first of all, have a round head. So we're sensing ourselves in space. Connectedness all the way down to the soles of our feet. We have a front and back, sides, so we have depth. So remember the slinky where the movement is very linear, right? So we're gonna explore sort of a very linear motion of our arms and what it feels like to be moving in a very linear way. So you can have your arms sort of draw in and out and just drawing a line from point A and point B. Right? And let's do it vertically like this. And we're not including any planes. We're just drawing a line, a linear line. This is not a very good or efficient way to move, correct? Because this way we're just going from point 1 and B and we're very flat. And now we're gonna include more space, the three-dimensional space in front of us. So now we can do front and we're including the planes. So it's not a linear line anymore. We're including all the space in front of us, right? We can do it. And you can sort of get creative with this thing. It's not anything right or wrong. It's really simply exploring the space. So now, and I can even do it higher or I can do it lower, right? How about the vertical one? So we do this, right? So we're including that plane. We're including the three-dimensional space around us. And let's do it on the left. And remember, going back to our whole body moving as a whole, you want to remind yourself that as you move through space, that your whole body is still connected. So we're not doing just the arm movement, but we're allowing, and it helps to look at your hand going in space. So we're moving whole body. This is a whole body, whole three-dimensional body in a 3D space. Okay? So we can do front. And this is all in our sphere, right? This is all the space that we can move into. And then we can do the back too. So there is a back space. And we can even move our arms in the back space. And we can even remember that rotation we did earlier. So this is also our back space, right? And you can move whichever way, again, pause whenever you like and get creative, okay? So now we kind of explored the space in front of us, on the side of us, behind us. There's one more that we want to include to make it really three-dimensional, is the diagonal space. So here is what I'm gonna ask you to do. So now you're probably facing the screen or your monitor. Just turn a little sideways facing the corner of the room. And again, I want you to use your arm, your hand, again, looking at it, and lunge forward a little bit and explore that space, and then back, and then do it again, and then look at it and back, and then to that diagonal space. Let's try it the other side. Okay, so we're gonna go sideways and then back, and sideways and then back. Okay. So now I want you to actually pause the video and go for a walk. Take your three-dimensional body into three-dimensional space and go for a walk and see what you notice. See if it's actually easier to move in space, and really reminding yourself that I have front and back, side to side, top and bottom, and I'm moving through this three-dimensional space. I'm moving in space in front of me, and I have space in the back. I have space all around me, and see what you notice. Welcome back. I hope you sense a sense of ease and freedom when you were taking yourself on that walk with awareness, when you were sensing your whole self moving in space. The walk with awareness, as we call it, is very useful, and it's a great way to practice self-awareness and how we move in space. And this is very important for musicians, because the next activity we're going to do is going to let you get a sense of how our habit is around our instrument, but actually without using our instrument. So I'm going to use a cell phone, and I'm gonna ask you to pretend that you just get a text, okay? So just pick up your phone like you normally would, and notice what's going on in your body. So I'm noticing a little shortening in my arm. I'm not really aware of the space behind me. And certainly I'm too focused just on the screen. So let's put it down again. And see if we can use some of the principle that we talked about in the video and apply to this simple activity of picking up our phone. So now I'm going to sense my whole body being connected, nice and easy, and remind myself that there's space around me. There is space above me, and I'm being supported by the floor, the space underneath me. I have side space and back space. And let's raise the phone again and see what happens. That was much easier. And I also noticed this time that there is that space in between me and my phone as well. And let's do it again. And you can play around with this idea and really explore of just picking up the phone versus including the space around you. And notice the quality of movement. The reason why we're doing this is because I would like to invite you to think about approaching your instrument. So next time, before you pick up your instrument, do you just pick it up and start playing? Or would it make a difference if you had thought about how you are as your first instrument, and including what we talked about the space around us, and bring up the instrument? And I'm curious to see what your observation is, whether it's easier or helpful in any way. I hope you find this video helpful and the principles can help enhance your music making experience. Before we go, I would like to recommend 2 books if you like to read more about the technique. The first one is called What Every Musician Needs to Know About the Body by Barbara Carnival. The second one is The Alexander Technique for Musicians by Judith Kleiman. If you have any comments or questions, please feel free to contact me via email at atwitherin@gmail.com. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you next time. Bye.